Hello, and here is another video. Today I want to talk about something very simple. It's an easy to overlook cost of building. Especially I'm thinking about when you're picking out a lot, something that I have overlooked myself is, it's a very simple thing, but it's very easy to overlook because when you look at land, you're not typically looking at the neighboring properties. So this behind me is a barn that I built several years ago. Actually, I built this one and this one over here. They're both pretty big barns. This one's 32 by 80, this one's 32 by 64. But they both required about $5,000 of fill dirt. And it was a lot of loads. And this one over here is just being built on right now, my neighbor. He's the same way. He's probably bought in, I don't know how many loads of fill dirt, but he has brought in a lot of fill dirt to fill this thing up. Okay, so if you would have seen this hole yesterday, you would have seen that that thing was probably, I don't know exactly, but I'm gonna say 2 feet, maybe 3 feet lower than it is right now. You can see, obviously they have a contractor here, they probably delivered, I don't know, if I had to guess, 40, 30, 40, 50 loads, triaxle loads of dirt today. And now he's just putting down the next layer, which is gonna be that pea gravel, which is right over there. So you gotta put fill dirt down first to get your base built up. But it is extremely easy to overlook this cost in a building process. I did it on one of my last spec houses. I had a, gosh, it was a decent sized lot, but I had a hole. I don't want to say a hole. I had a low area in the center of it, and it probably took me $3,000 in fill dirt. I would say, I don't remember how many loads, but it was a lot of loads to get the fill in there to get that to a buildable position. And you know, you can do whatever you want. Like I was in a barn area like this a couple years ago, that from one barn to the next, there was probably a 2 to 3 foot drop. So imagine right here in between these two barns, rather than being perfectly level, right? Imagine that slopes down from one barn to the next barn 2 to 3 feet. And you know, no surprise, but in that setup of barns where I used to own one, we had at least one occasion, I think there were 2 occasions where people flooded. Okay, and that's a perfect example of why you should not do that. As you look at this road here, you can't tell by looking at it, but that road down there is not much higher, but our main road in the addition is probably, I don't know, at least a foot higher than we are here. So we're already down, I wouldn't say in a hole, but you do not want to be the lowest guy in your block. It's just too much risk. You got to think about how much stuff you're storing on the floor of these barns and these properties. You just don't want water, right? I mean, not only does it mess up insulation, it messes up lumber, it could cause mold. It's just not something that you're gonna wanna do if you're spending, I don't know, $50,000 to $150,000 on one of these projects. So I would just encourage you, get an excavator out or get somebody out when you're purchasing land that knows something about grade, okay? It could be an excavator, it could be a basement guy, it could be a general contractor. I don't really care who it is, but for you guys' benefit, just keep in mind, sometimes you can look at something and it looks like a great value, and sometimes you can look at something and just not realize that it's a great value for a reason. And you know, my lot that I bought that I had to put a couple $1,000s in, I think it was $4,000, the lot was only $10,000. So, you know, if I have to stick $4,000 in it, who cares? It's still $5,000 to $10,000 cheaper than any other lot on the market. But if I were to buy a at market price lot, so let's say I'm spending $25,000 on that same lot, and that's market prices, you know, maybe every other lot in my town is at $25,000, and I got to spend $5,000 to get it up to grade to build on it, that stinks, right? Because then I could have bought another lot at $25,000, not had to spend my $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever it is in dirt, which plus you're just buying dirt. Like, I mean, I know it's dirt, I know it has some value, but it's still dirt. Like, I mean, I always feel raunchy and kind of odd buying dirt. So then you got to pay somebody else to come and spread it, because obviously a dump truck's not going to be able to make it like that. As this guy's working on it, he's been probably doing that all day. Anyways, just an easy to overlook expense that you guys, anyone who's contemplating building, should think about and assess before you make an offer, or before you consider buying something, because it can come back to bite you in the butt, especially if you need a huge pad and a huge lot. Like back here where we are, these aren't huge lots. So, you know, worst case, you know, you can't be out that much. But if you're dealing with a big project, that can really add up. Anyways, hope this was helpful, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.